2020 has many new things coming to the resort, and we are joined by the unofficial guide Seth Kubersky to look at this year and beyond. You are listening to episode 385 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm your host Lee. Joining me is Tracy.
Hello everyone.
And Darren.
What's up, Internet?
And Chris.
Hey guys.
And as I said, Mr. Seth Kubersky. Hey Seth.
So happy to join you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And to you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
This is we've done this annually for I think about the last 7 or 8 years now. We just sort of take a look at everything that's new or rumoured coming this year and beyond. And this year, for all there's not a lot going on, there's still quite a bit. Especially considering this year's the 30th anniversary of the park.
It is.
But one of the things I wanted to start off with, Seth, and again, we've talked about this off air, for everybody listening, and me and Tracy included, because Darren and Chris have tried it all at this point already. Green Eggs and Ham Cafe opened for the first time in what feels like a millennia at this point, with everyone seems to be raving about the tater tots there. Give me some good news, Seth.
Don't forget the Who hash.
Yes. Oh yeah.
The good news is, as of today, which is the first day after the peak holiday season, it does appear that Green Eggs is still operating. But the bad news is that if you want to have green eggs and ham for dinner, you're out of luck because the restaurant has been closing before 5 p.m. It's pretty much just a lunchtime only spot. But hopefully it will continue to operate for your next trip down, and you'll be at least able to get a can of Who hash.
I hope so.
I'm going to be devastated if I can't.
Now, in seasonal food news, Green Eggs and Ham got all the attention, but Wimpy's also reopened for the holiday season. They had a Wellington burger. Again, I tried to eat there and had the door closed in my face before 5 p.m. That one, I'm not sure if that one's going to... Wimpy's is even less likely to operate than Green Eggs and Ham, I'm afraid. But it does seem that pizza company, Kids Zone Pizza Company over in the other park, is staying open with pizza fries, at least for now. So that is at least one seasonal stand, which seems to be sticking around for a while.
Mm.
And isn't the Wimpy's serving Impossible Burgers?
Impossible Burger, I'm not sure. I know they had a vegan burger. I believe that Disney has Impossible Burger now, and Universal is doing Beyond Burgers.
Oh, Beyond.
But that's switched back and forth at some point in the past. So who knows, the vegan brands could switch again.
Well, I've got something that I'm going to check out. It kind of just sprung to mind because something's come up in our news today, because our Burger King are launching a vegan burger.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, except it's not vegan.
Oh.
And I wonder if these can be classed as vegan because they're cooked on the same grill as the meat patties.
Ah.
Ooh.
And it was something I hadn't thought about. And now, because knowing how strict our daughter is, she won't eat anything that's prepared on the same grill or anything. So
if she knows about it.
No.
I think that might depend on your particular Burger King franchisee.
Oh no, they don't over here. They don't have the extra grill. But I'm just wondering if that's...
I imagine that it's difficult to install a grill solely for vegan burgers.
They can't call it vegan then.
Little George Foreman machine.
But it just sprang to mind. So that's something I'm going to try and find out is, will the vegan burger, anything vegan or
cooked on a separate thing?
Yeah, I might not get an answer, but I'll try. It as I say, it just sprang to mind because it's something I've just been reading about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So
I'd hope with the industrial setups that they have that they could afford the extra
Well,
space
I know in general at Universal, while they do offer like a vegan chicken sandwich, they are careful to say that if you are so concerned about cross-contamination, let's say you have an allergy and it's a life and death situation, that they warn you that they can't guarantee against cross-contamination in the kitchens unless you're ordering like from a table restaurant and it's in advance and you've arranged for a very specific with their staff in advance.
Yeah, I think an allergy thing's a little different though, isn't it? Because it could be like airborne stuff rather than cooking something on the same grill. It's slightly different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a tricky question.
It is.
I know I have had the vegan Impossible Burger at the Burger King at Universal City Walk, and I'm not aware of them having a separate grill just for that. So if you're concerned that it touched meat in a previous life, then you might be out of luck.
It's just knowing what you know.
Get consent first.
I never expected that conversation
to know.
Yeah,
and we've already derailed the 2020 discussion.
Yeah, I never expected the conversation to go down this route.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I do want to say a good thing about Wimpy's is that any day that you do eat there, they do have a plan where you pay Tuesday.
Well, here's a question. I don't know this of Chris or Darren. Have either of you ever eaten there?
Yeah, I did one time. It was like open on a random day in the summer a few years ago. It was not top of the line as far as what
I
we
think
got.
I ate there like the first few years that it was open ever. Not any time recently that I can actually remember what it tasted like.
It's been at least a decade for me.
Our first ever trip to Islands of Adventure. We ate there. That's where we chose. Out of all the restaurants in Islands of Adventure, that's where we chose.
The one with a box of skunks over it. That looks great.
I want authentic American burgers.
To be honest, we'd just been on Ripsaw Falls twice, I think, and Bill Draft Barges, and it was somewhere we could sit and eat in the sun to dry off.
Lee's like, Wimpy loves them.
Oh, man.
It was all right. We didn't die.
Yeah, I don't actually remember any. I don't even know what I had.
A burger.
Probably.
Yeah.
I just remember everything being kind of dried out when we went there, but that's luck of the draw with theme park food.
Yeah.
So
I'll drum this next one up because Seth, you mentioned it on Little Things, and the guys here probably don't really know much about it. But you mentioned about Pick having a bit of a sale and the fresh produce store going away. Have you got any ideas what that store on City Walk is going to be?
I can tell you the rumors are tending towards an expanded Universal Studios store. And that would free up the existing Universal store for a new project that I don't have a good handle on yet.
Okay.
But the latest is that Billabong and Island Clothing, which are next door to where Fresh Produce was and where Pick is, they are also having some deep discount sales, and looks like they're going to partially or fully close as well. The permit for this construction work seemed to cover 4 stores in total, so that would be that. And don't really have a timeline or obviously any kind of announcement, but this is Universal. The store will be stocked and open before they admit that they're doing it.
yeah.
Yeah, those stores in City Walk now are just so redundant.
I would expect maybe they will, when they redo these stores, that they will do something to prevent people from just using it as one big cut through to the studios, because that's the only reason I ever walk through that store is just to have a shortcut around Fossil.
Yeah,
we've never done that.
It's a joke in the annual pass holder group at this point that you're not an annual pass holder if you don't cut through there.
Yeah.
You just move
or
a
an
couple of
employee
shirts.
or anything else.
Yeah.
You just move a couple of shirts. Oh, that looks nice as you carry on walking through.
I don't even do that.
I did last time. Oh no, I didn't because we haven't done that. That's right.
Oh.
What?
You take the next one.
Oh, thanks.
You're excited for it.
Well, I am. You're right. Yes. Not long now until Mardi Gras. So
Because when does it actually start this year? Do we know? It's soon.
it's gonna be soon because we'll be there in 6 weeks.
5 weeks.
5
when this
weeks.
comes out.
Yeah. Nearly 4 weeks.
I'm so excited. I wasn't bothered about Mardi Gras before, and then having spoken to Blake quite a lot about it, I'm so excited for Mardi Gras this year.
You know how long I've wanted to do Mardi Gras for. Very
Just so you know,
excited.
the event runs February 1st through April 2nd this year.
That's a long
So
run.
two full months.
Woohoo.
Chris got me all
And,
excited for it last year, posting all the pictures, because we paid for Chris to go and get the lanyard last year, the food tasting lanyard, and it was like, yeah, I am doing that this year without a doubt.
Can I have one of those every day, please?
That was a great deal.
Yeah.
It really was.
I definitely made full use of mine.
Yes. And if they think that I'm getting one and sharing it with them, there's another thing coming.
But seafood, you won't eat it anyway. Seth, did you do the
They have other things, not just seafood.
broil thing that they did last year?
My co-author Lillian did the crawfish boil and absolutely loved it. I wish I had gone and done it with her because I'm a big fan of New Orleans style seafood, and the pictures she took looked amazing. That I could definitely eat my weight in crawfish, and the beignets alone, I think would probably make it worth the price.
It's good that they're expanding it every year, that it's becoming a bigger event.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be every year. I mean, we've obviously been covering it for like nearly 9 years now, and it's definitely become much more of an event than it used to be. People seem a lot more excited for it now than they did sort of 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
It's definitely become bigger.
I do like to see the new themes for the floats every year and what have you.
Oh,
So excited.
it's too close.
I can't believe I'm going to do it, finally. That leaves one more thing on the bucket list.
Yeah, we know. Darren, you've been to Mardi Gras, have you? I never
Oh,
remember
yeah.
you talking about it much.
Oh, we've been tons of times. It's great.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Was it Mardi Gras you met Nina, or was that the Summer Concert Series? No, Mardi Gras.
Yeah. It
Oh,
was when Weezer was
all
playing.
right,
So.
summer concert series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's got a very special place in Darren's heart.
Oh,
He met the love of his life.
Yeah.
Feet.
Doing a Weezer.
don't fail me now. Don't fail me now.
Yeah, I've been to. I mean, not to humble brag, but I was the king. But no biggie.
No.
Yeah. I've never even successfully gotten on a float, so hopefully
Yet.
that changes next year.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe. Who knows?
Just run and jump on one as they're going past. It'll be fine.
Chris, what did
Right.
being the king involve?
Kingly duties?
What did it involve?
What did you have
how
to
get
do?
to that? It was showing up late and there being a spot open, and me and Alexa were there, and they're like, "Oh, we got a special spot for you guys. You guys take this wristband." We had no idea what that was, and it was just hanging out there. And then they told us at the end, like, "Here, you're gonna be king and queen."
And what did you do?
You got the bill for the whole thing.
Yeah.
They put, you get the robes, you get the crowns, and you get to sit on the throne.
Awesome.
And they give you a bunch of beads, and you start throwing it out at people. While at the crowd.
Nice.
Chris gets to do everything, doesn't he? He's just one of those people that things happen to him.
Yeah.
Things
He just
happen
hangs
to us.
out. Yeah.
He's like Raymond. He's like
Things
our
are
son.
good, but things
So
happen to
relaxed that turns up late for everything and yet still gets everything.
I talk my way through a lot of things. All right.
No.
But you are, though, Chris. It's like when we were... I was like, oh, we've just been talking to Blake Braswell. And you were like, oh, I've just been talking to Mike Aiello. And it was because like things happen to you that make things happen, that just fall into place. You're just one of those people.
Over here, we
I
call
will
it
say,
jammy.
this was on the Sunday too, because we were leaving. So we tried to do it on Saturday, and we were going to leave the park because we had to, do the long drive back home. And I don't know, one of us said, like, do you want to just check again just to see? I'm like, it's already late. I'm sure the queue is already backed up and all that, and it's going to start soon. Let's just go check it out. And then that whole thing happened. So it literally was just luck, extreme luck.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He took his Felix Felicis, didn't he?
Yeah.
Chris is eating at the Club 33 at Universal.
But you haven't done that yet?
No one else even knows about it. But
Right, Seth, I'm hoping for some more good news from the next one. Obviously, the biggest thing that's probably going to open this year is the Born Stuntacular that's replacing Terminator 2 3D. And all the date they've given us is spring. Are we likely to get any soft openings around the middle of February?
Do you know about seasons,
I
Lee?
have
Shall
no
I
idea
introduce
what's
you to
going
that
on.
concept?
Sorry, February.
You could flip a coin. All I know right now is that the stunt team is working hard on the show. They're the same company that does the Waterworld show. They were brought in a few years ago to upgrade the Waterworld show out in California, and they do great work. So I'm willing to give them the time that they need to do it well and to do it safely. There's a show that recently opened in Las Vegas, a Cirque du Soleil stunt show called Run, that kind of uses some similar concepts, but has been really poorly received. And I wouldn't be surprised if they are taking their time to make sure, they've had a couple big attractions in a row at the studios that were not as received as well as they would have liked. So I'm sure rather than rush something open for spring break, which I'm sure they'd love to have it to absorb the crowds. If I was them, I would be doing lots and lots of rehearsal and test and adjust before letting people in. Because the problem with soft opening, with the theater, you often want to have a preview period where you can have audiences in and see how they react and then change things. Can't really do that with theme parks anymore because of people like us, because the internet. The second that one piece of video gets out into the wild, that's going to cement people's opinion of the attraction. And it's not like, people don't remember The Mummy, Revenge of the Mummy opened up and then closed back down for 3 or 4 months while they worked on special effects. And if we had Twitter and the internet to the same degree that we have now, people would have been talking about how terrible The Mummy was before it ever opened. So, I don't have any great news for you. I definitely can't guarantee any soft openings. Universal's also seem to have been doing fewer and fewer soft openings. I think Kong was the last, real soft opening that we got. And, Fast and Furious obviously didn't. So you might get lucky on your trip and you might not. I do know that they shot some footage for the pre-shows not too long ago, but those people I don't think got any sort of sneak peek of what the show will actually be like.
No, I know one of our listeners got tickets for it, and I don't think he ended up going in the end. I'm excited for it.
Thankfully, from Attractions Magazine, I know he participated, but was sworn to secrecy. So
okay, I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad that they've replaced the stunt show with a stunt show, because I've said for many, many years on this show that T2 3D is one of my favourite sort of theatre style 3D actor driven shows like ever, honestly. And I'm glad they're going down a similar route with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I was over the extended break kind of that we had. I went to get my hair cut, and I was telling everybody at the barber shop about this, about the Bourne stunt show and how it was replacing T2 3D. And these were the kind of guys that are kind of into Bourne. They like the action movies and stuff like that. And every single one of them was like, "What?" They're taking away Terminator and putting in Bourne. They were really taken aback by it.
Where were all these people when the latest Terminator movie came out and did 0 at the box office?
Well, everybody likes Terminator 2 specifically, I think. And I kind of think they want to live in that reality. And nothing else after that. So
Terminator Dark Fate, I know, is on our flight next month. I'm going to be watching it because I actually think it looks half decent. But
is that the new one?
Yes.
I went to see it in theaters. I was about the only person in my theater seeing it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I also sort of enjoyed parts of Terminator 3 and parts of Salvation and even brief seconds out of Genesis. So what do I know?
Honestly, I'm with Seth. I enjoyed the movie a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I want to see it. I like this. Like Seth said, you don't have to like the film to like parts of them.
Well, no, that's it.
But I didn't think.
And it's
Genesis
one of those
was bad
that kind of retcons the series, right? Takes out everything after 2.
Oh yeah, the first 30 seconds of the movie kind of are just a big FU to all of the other films.
Well, that seems to be the way they're going now, isn't it?
Not necessarily undeserved. But, it sort of does the Halloween thing where it says, all right, the first movie was real and everything else, forget it.
See,
Terminator was dreaming the whole time. That's what it was.
He was in the Matrix.
I was gonna say
He woke up with Bobby Ewing in the shower.
I was going to say something to do with the shower, wasn't
God,
it?
how many of our listeners are old enough to know what the hell we're talking about
My
right
mother
now?
told me about
None.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I say it is a relatively quiet year park-wide, considering there was quite a lot last year. Like, last year was a big year, really, wasn't it? So, obviously...
last year was a big year for the industry overall. I mean,
Yes.
you could just open Star Wars in a year, and that would be enough for the whole theme park
Yeah.
industry. So, yeah, this year was always going to be a bit of a rebuilding year. I think we're going to have a couple sort of slowish years until we get hit with the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, followed by the opening of Epic Universe.
Yeah, I think they're going to. We've said for a while. I think you're not going to see a lot of money spent on islands or the studios at this point, because they're probably going to want to funnel it down into Epic Universe as much as possible. But with this year being the 30th anniversary, Seth, do you expect them to do anything for it? Because they didn't really do anything for the 25th.
I expect them to pander to fans with overpriced merchandise, and maybe, if we're really lucky, a hard ticket event or some sort of minor tribute thing. Maybe an update to the cinematic celebration show or something thrown into the parade. But I don't see them spending. They didn't spend a lot of money promoting the 25th.
No, they didn't do
Universal
anything,
has
did
never
they?
been big into history or anniversaries, and if you throw a big thing for the 30th, I thought it was ironic that I think the annual pass holder pin this month is for Jaws,
Which is awesome.
Which is fantastic, but it doesn't exist.
No.
So it's like
Yeah.
how much, Walt Disney World can celebrate its history because they still have the teacups and they still have the Space Mountain and pirates and stuff. But how do you celebrate the 30th anniversary of, there's only so much we can do around the ET ride. That's because that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
VR goggles. That's
The thing
it.
is, though, I think from doing this for 8 years, the fan base for Universal is definitely, it's nowhere near the Walt Disney World fans, but it's definitely getting a nostalgic fan base.
without
Even
doubt.
just look at Halloween Horror Nights at this point. And I think the Halloween Horror Nights team get it. You're starting to see a lot of, I expect it, and we'll probably get onto it in a second, you'll probably see a lot this year with Halloween Horror Nights 30, where they did with 25. I know, Seth, you didn't particularly like Halloween Horror Nights 25. I mean, the four of us loved it, but you said it was a little too pandery to like the history of stuff.
Did I say that?
I think
you
so.
can't expect me to remember what I said 5 years ago.
Oh, it hit
Come
a
on.
nerve. It hit a nerve,
You can't
Seth.
hold
I
me
remembered.
to past Seth. Past Seth didn't know what he was talking about half the time.
I can't believe
This is
Lee
a more
has,
refined Seth.
I can't believe Lee has remembered something from that long ago, but he can't remember what he did 5 minutes ago.
Right. My gut is that over the last few years, and you see this with how Halloween Horror Nights marketing in general has evolved, they're less interested in the hardcore fans in terms of spending money on marketing because they know those fans are going to come
Yes.
anyway. So I don't look for like the intricate backstory websites and the those kind of things because those don't pull in any additional people.
No.
The marketing efforts are built around things that are for the general public, and the general public really just learned that Universal existed when Harry Potter came around. So I think Universal is very much centered on their present and their future, and they will only use their past in as much as it helps them get some more money out of existing annual pass holders.
I think it's a little short-sighted of them, to be honest. I get it, but I do think it's a little short-sighted.
Yeah.
But just on the one hand, yes, Universal could exploit their nostalgia factor more, but you also see what happens with Disney when they've spent so much time building up their hardcore fan base to the point where they're fighting against their own fans anytime they try to do something new.
Yes.
So it's a delicate balancing act.
It is, but they don't seem to be wanting to touch it at all, really, and that's the problem.
Yeah, I personally would love to see, at least window displays or a small tribute museum. Maybe they could take where they put the Halloween tribute show. Halloween tribute store, and do a little museum of past Universal memorabilia.
Yeah.
For the 30th anniversary, something like that would be great.
Yeah.
But it's not going to make the turnstiles go. It's
No.
not going to draw new people in. The best, it's another perk for the annual pass holders to make them come and spend a little bit more on food and merch than they would have otherwise.
It's like we've always talked about the horror makeup show and how like that show hasn't changed for however long. And let's be honest, we adore it, but why they're not using that to promote Halloween Horror Nights to a group of people that potentially are put off by what it is, but also maybe don't even know what it is. To put that in the park to average day guests, I don't understand why they're not using it to promote that event more.
I don't think that they have much problem promoting Halloween Horror Nights at this point because they sell as many tickets as they want to.
They always want to make more money, though.
But I would love if they would update the show more than once every 3 years. I mean,
3
how
years?
long?
3 years? Yeah, they'd have a little
Has
bit.
it even been that? How long have we had the Mummy, the terrible Tom Cruise Mummy, in there?
Not too long.
Has there not been any horror movie released in the years since? They couldn't swap that out by now.
Not with Tom Cruise.
Like a family-friendly enough one? Probably not. Like one that's not going to like be too on the far end and not CGI based as well.
Scare the kids.
Like something that still uses some practical effects.
The Mummy was CGI. I mean, that was sort of a demonstration of CGI.
True.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, they're still going back to American Werewolf for the practical effects. So.
That is awesome, though. Yeah, you can't.
You can't get much better.
No, you can't.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, going on to this year, the only things we have, even as like loose rumors, were like things we saw in houses, this year.
Yeah, but were we being led on a wild goose chase there a little bit? I think maybe.
Yes,
well.
probably.
It was fun though.
It was.
It keeps the mind busy.
It really did. It was fun.
Yeah, the only one I still think is practical is Candyman, whether it be based on the old one and to hype up the new movie, or based on the new movie itself.
I'd be all over that anyway.
Yeah, that's the only one I really think is on the hook. Yeah, as far as everybody else said, the 30th anniversary of something is, I mean, it's a numbered year. It's in, every 5 years we can feel like we're going to have something amazing, and it's not going to happen. 25 is a quarter of a century. That's a pretty marketable year to do. 30, I don't think is as much. So
really?
As excited as we are for everything, I don't know if it'll be as big as we were hoping for. And I mean, the hype for 25 started at the end of 24 in a hype video where they showed Jack.
Yeah.
And we haven't had anything yet. But, also at the same time, I don't think they're telling marketing as much as they used to from creative. I think they're trying to keep the bubble a lot smaller than they have in the past due to their extreme leaks that usually happen. Usually by this time of year, I have half the houses at least.
Yeah. You look at that Horror Nights Nightmares from last year. They pretty much had it on the nose from the first speculation map they put out.
Yeah. So I don't know. It seems like the cards are a little tighter to the chest this year as far as that goes. So
the rumor I've seen around so far is that we're probably going to see less IP houses than we have done recently and more originals, which I'd be more than happy with.
Yeah, that I don't think so.
You don't?
To me, no. The way that Horror Nights goes, and exactly like Seth said, they don't care. They're not caring about the hardcore fans. They want to pull people in with those big IPs.
I think they generally plan these days for a balance of 50-50, and that can shift to 60-40 depending on whether an IP comes through or falls through. But I don't think you're going to see a radical shift one way. It'll be half and half or 60-40, but I don't think it'll be much more than that in one direction or the other.
I'm reading Doctor Who here, and I'm really hoping that Ghostbusters didn't open that gate.
Well, somebody posted a picture of a Halloween Horror Nights prop that's in the prop shop at the moment. I don't know whether you've been in, Seth, and seen it. It's like a head, but it kind of looks like Pinhead, but isn't.
Oh, it's quite bad.
And it's like, I hope this is Universal sort of dropping a little hint at a Hellraiser house
is that
this
on
year.
Instagram?
I don't know where I saw it,
They've
actually.
they've had Hellraiser rooms in houses in the past. They've never done a whole Hellraiser house.
They should.
I'm
I
not
love
sure who
Hellraiser.
owns the Hellraiser rights right now. I know that's bounced around. If anything, just in terms of marketing, you'd think the Halloween reboot would be a good choice. I know they kind of wore people out with Halloween. What was it, 4 or 5 was the last one that they
4,
did?
I think,
the
wasn't it?
movie that no one really cared about.
I didn't know it existed.
They skipped over Halloween 3, which is what the really hardcore fans wanted to see because there's nothing better than a movie that everyone hates.
I have very nostalgic memories of that film, and we watched it like last year or the year before, and the last sort of 25 minutes of that film I have no memory of whatsoever. It's weird. Very strange. My one hope for this year is that they do another version of the Marathon of Mayhem Lagoon show.
The Lagoon
show
show.
is amazing.
Yes.
By far the best part of the event.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that it had some heavy competition because Academy of Villains was unreal as well.
Yeah.
It was yes, definitely the best Academy of Villains show so far.
I'm hoping for a Bill and Ted reunion with the movie coming out this year. We'll see.
I'm hoping for a Bill and Ted themed Academy of Villains.
Yeah,
show.
I'd be up for that. That would be awesome.
I'm just hoping for a second show of any kind.
Yes.
Having multiple shows really helps spread out crowds, and I don't understand why the Animal Actors Amphitheater sits empty during Halloween Horror Nights.
No, I know. Brian Brushwood is totally available.
I'm sure
digging into
he
past.
might actually be camping out underneath the bleachers. I'm sure you could just ask. You give him a churro. I'm sure. No, he was great. I liked him. I liked his show.
Why don't we bring
It was
Robosaurus
wonderful.
back as well?
Uh,
Just really drag up from the past.
oh, yeah.
And then we've got another hotel opening this year.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
The Dockside Inn and Suites, which I will say Tracy and I are staying at in October.
Yes, we
And I
are.
am quite
Well, as long
excited.
as it's open, we are.
My only concern with Dockside, because I had a really good experience at Surfside, especially with the transportation. Like there was always a bus there. It like 5 minutes door to door. It was great. But Dockside is so much bigger than Surfside. I'm a little concerned if you end up with a room at the far end of the complex that it might take you longer to walk to the bus stop than it does to actually drive to the park.
Duly noted.
Yeah, that's.
I will request
I would.
room at
Yeah,
the
I would
front.
maybe request a room as close as possible to the lobby facilities.
because
Yeah.
the
No,
reviews
sorry,
are...
you
it
with
is-
Cabana Bay.
It's
Yes.
a really it's if you look at the maps, I mean Cabana Bay is big, Dockside's big.
That
Dockside's
explains why.
maybe even bigger.
That explains
Yeah,
why
the-
Dockside was slightly cheaper than Surfside. Then
Yeah. One of the
Oh,
biggest
really?
mistakes.
Slightly cheaper. Interesting.
yes,
Yeah.
just it wasn't much, but it was slightly cheaper to stay at
Hmm.
Dockside than it was at Surfside.
So they don't have a bus then.
No, that
We'll just go a long walk.
What were you going to say, Darren?
I was going to say one of the biggest mistakes that I made at Cabana Bay was buying a Freestyle cup there. Because it was like a mile back and forth from our room, and the Freestyle cups there hold like, it feels like 12 ounces of soda.
Mhm.
So yeah, you drink it all on the way back to the room, and then you got to go back.
Halfway there, Darren's like crawling along the carpet like he's in the desert going, water.
Yeah, you gotta conserve it. Yeah, they're like a pro walks by you like wearing a Cabana Bay shirt. He's like, no, buddy, don't drink that all right now. You're gonna need it.
But it seems like we've talked to a few people that have stayed at Surfside, and it seems to be getting really good reviews.
I think the hotel's really
I
pretty.
still,
Oh, you went over, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, had
for the
sandwich.
cheap hotels, personally, I still just like Cabana Bay because that's my aesthetic.
Yeah.
But I think I'd rather stay at Surfside than at Aventura, just because the rooms are really comfortable. We had one of the suites, and you could really spread out. It's even more elbow room than Cabana Bay suites. And I found Aventura kind of cold, and I get that it's supposed to be minimalist, but it was a little bit too much like living in THX 1138.
You said that to
Yeah.
me, Darren.
Yep.
So I expect Dockside to be real popular, especially at that price
I
point.
looked at the family suites in Cabana Bay, and they're kind of a weird layout for a family because there's 4 of us staying in there, and they're kind of a weird layout because, like, the kids' beds are in the main. Like the main bedroom bit, whereas the master, it was weird. It just didn't make any sense.
There's no privacy. The Cabana Bay suites don't have that kind of master bedroom set.
Yeah, it was weird.
Universal has
that's why I liked
privacy issue with their hotels. It's like they encouraged, like, if you guys aren't like real close family, I mean, real close
you're
family,
going to be close by the end of the.
you're going to need 2 rooms from us.
The bathroom.
Yeah.
Yes, and we'll be more than happy to give you 2 rooms instead of 1. And yeah, it's the barn door bathrooms.
Yes,
that leaves nothing to the imagination at all. I'll say
they're just so loud. So you either end up waking the other person up closing it, or waking them up peeing because you don't want to shut the door and wake them up.
Look.
Yeah, and it sounds like Volcano Bay.
To be fair, we have stayed in hotels where you can hear the person peeing 3 floors above.
Well, true, yes.
Yeah.
The days in Lakeside, rest in peace.
Yeah, and we were on the top floor.
I'll say we got a Red Roof Inn recently on a name your own price deal, and I'll say fun times. Do they still have the actors in the lobby at Surfside, or was that just like for opening?
No, I don't know.
Because I really hope the dockside has dock workers in there,
Oh,
like old timey dock workers instead. It's like throwing.
I think that was an opening weekend press thing.
Yeah, I was there probably a month ago. I didn't see anybody there.
So
does that mean they'd have ladies who frequent the docks looking for work?
Well, who knows? It is International Drive. Oh,
This took a turn.
Seth, anything else we can expect this year?
I don't know whether you want to think of this for 2020 or maybe 2021. There's still noise about a possible expansion at Volcano Bay. There's an expansion plot that's kind of behind where Makupui is, the big yellow and green slides. So there was some work done, some dirt moved around. It looked like something was happening, and then things kind of went on pause. So there's still a possibility that things could heat up there and we could see a new slide thrown in there before the end of the year. But that's definitely just still in a rumor department for now.
Yeah, Tracy and I got a tour over there when we came over in October and fell in love with the place. It's stunning.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It really is gorgeous.
The only problem with that place is if you're staying in one of the tower rooms at Cabana Bay and you want to sleep in past 7 a.m.
I have heard that.
It's not happening because that conch shell horn goes off on the regular.
I thought I was the only crazy person. I
God.
can't get those rooms anymore because you can hear the music through the window.
Oh yeah, it penetrates.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yep. Just bring earplugs, Lee.
I don't sleep anyway, Chris, so I don't think it matters.
Perfect. Those are the rooms for you then.
Yeah, I'll just sit at the window and stare out at Volcano Bay all
To
night.
be honest, we'd want to be up that early anyway.
Very true.
yeah, like Lee sitting there looking at his watch, like, come on, go.
I did. I was that used to not sleeping.
Freestyle machine.
I was that used to not sleeping. I'd just put my phone on and Tracy would go, come on, I'm trying to sleep. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'd only just gone to bed because I'd been studying while you did have a little nap.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll see what's going on next year and beyond.
If you guys are ready for a wonderful trip at Universal or anywhere, your team at Mouse and Muggle Travel Company would love to help you. So just send us an email to info@mouseandmuggle.com and we'd be glad to help you go anywhere.
Welcome back, everyone. I think we've covered everything for 2020. Moving beyond, there doesn't seem to be an awful lot of rumours outside of Epic Universe, but the new coaster going into Jurassic Park.
What's that called, Lee?
It's not right.
You've got it right here.
It
in
is
the
not
notes.
going to be called that. I have said categorically, there is no way that Universal will name that ride the Velocicoaster because they don't do anything that doesn't have 12 words in the title at this point. You've got the last few.
I think it could be the Velocicoaster, the ride, the coaster.
3D.
2D.
2D.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're
Lost
taking
World.
3D out now, aren't they?
Yes.
Do we know anything about it other than what Alicia's put out there of like the complete breakdown of everything at this? I don't know where that woman gets her info from.
It's going over water.
We know there will be at least one tunnel because we can see the framing for it in between the backside of Popeye and Bluto Bildret barges and the kind of front plaza in front of the Discovery Center. They did some work in that area in between, and you can definitely see from the aerial photography that it looks like it's going to be a tunnel, probably a launch tunnel.
It seems to be like what Alicia's talking about, that it's going to be Blue the Raptor sort of themed, which is weird because you're going to have a Jurassic World. I know they're doing it in Hollywood as well, like a Jurassic World attraction in Jurassic Park. Are we just going to... Do you expect them to change it over, Seth, or are they just going to leave it as like a hodgepodge of both?
I don't think that they're going to rename the land Jurassic World. I think that whatever new goes in is going to be sort of ambiguous in style, so it could sort of fit in with the Jurassic Park architecture, but I think that they'll probably go more towards cool colors, grays, and some blue highlights, with not so much of the older orangey kind of color scheme.
What they need to do is...
I think they're deliberately making it kind of halfway in between. It's not going to be Jurassic World, but it's just going to be Jurassic everything.
Yeah. You even have the Blue Encounter right now.
Yeah.
In parks. So, they could theoretically put a blue ride in there and still not have to change everything over.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And they always have the option of just not maintaining anything and just letting it rot, and then there you go. It's perfect.
The Discovery Centre's already there, isn't it? Just need to light a fire inside the Discovery Centre and everything's done for you. Because it needs it, to be honest. I can't even remember the last time we went in there.
Yep. Cut the banner down.
Save the baby raptors, though. That's so cute.
Oh, yeah.
So a question for you then, Seth. For how well the Jurassic World overlay of the river adventure out in Hollywood was taken on, it seems to be everyone's really loving it out there. Do you ever expect that to happen to the one in Orlando?
I don't think the maintenance crew out there is too happy with it right now. They've been having a lot of issues from what I hear. The aquarium scene has been going out of sync regularly. They removed the giant logo on the building mysteriously, and it hasn't gone back up yet. And the Indoraptor, which was supposed to be the highlight of the new show, he's torn. He's not functioning properly. They're doing a very brief refurb, and then they're going to do another longer refurb this spring. I don't think they ever finally got Jurassic World ride to be what it was supposed to be. Okay. From what I'm told, that not all the final animatronics were ever installed. So I think they'll probably hold off on doing that kind of full scale switch out until the one out there is a little more reliable.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, the refurbishment we're getting coming up right now on Jurassic Park River Adventure and Islands of Adventure is mainly about reworking the queue.
Okay.
Because they're kind of, I think that's where the raptor encounter, right now we've got a temporary raptor encounter. I think that's where the permanent location is going into, where the extended queue of Jurassic Park is right now. So I think that kind of infrastructure is going to be more what they're doing right now rather than retheming the ride. It could definitely use some new dinos, but I don't want to give up the stuff that we have that's unique in it, like that dropping box, because as much as I really like some of the new stuff they added in Jurassic World, the aquarium scene when it works is really great, and the blue animatronic at the end is fantastic. But there's sections in the middle that feel really unfinished, where I think ours is still better.
It's weird walking through Jurassic Park in Islands of Adventure now. It's odd.
Yeah.
And we haven't even seen it since they've split the walkway off into 2 sections now. When we came, it was just like, I have no idea where I am in relation to anything
Because all
at
the
this
trees
point.
have gone and everything.
It's just so weird.
Yeah. And like you see like something in the distance, like the Pizza Predatoria. I think that's closed behind walls right now, if I'm not mistaken, because we looked around for it and couldn't find it.
Yeah,
like I saw it from a
checked,
distance.
you could still access it. There's one little pathway that goes to the Raptor Encounter and the bathrooms and Pizza Predatoria, but it's a dead end. And then there's a totally separate path that goes down towards the River Adventure and the rest of the park.
See,
so
I couldn't...
yeah, it's a mess right now. In fact,
yeah, we couldn't even find it.
Yeah,
they're playing, I guess, dinosaur wranglers, and they're just
so
kind of stationed doing a little obstacle
Yeah.
course with the kids in the middle of the pathway. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is very weird.
It reminds me of back when Diagon Alley was under construction. They had lost tourists stationed in front of the construction walls.
Yeah.
It's weird though when you know an area so well that you can still stand in the middle of it and go, I have no idea where I am. It's like, I think back to when we brought the kids over for the first time in 2009, when Hogsmeade was still under construction and Dragon Challenge was, or Dueling Dragons as it was then, was still open. And you try and, because they kind of, you think where the entrance to that ride was, and yet you walk through like a fenced off walkway to get to it, and you think, I'll walk through the middle of Hogsmeade at that point, but didn't realise where you were in relation to that area. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, like I said, we couldn't find that. On top of that, the Hogwarts show was going on. The castle show was happening at the same time. This was like the last Saturday that they were doing the Christmas stuff. So that was happening. And so they have that one pathway there to the castle. Like they have stanchions set up to go either coming or going, and they are not letting people go in during the show because it's like at capacity back there. So you had to take the bridge around, to go around the other way. So yeah, it was just completely confusing, like which way to go through Jurassic Park. It was just very odd. Very.
It's bizarre, but it's good because it kind of throws you out your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's too easy when you know a park as well as you do to walk around it and not take a lot of it in because it's just
familiar,
subconscious at that point. Whereas I think when stuff like this happens, you pay attention a little more.
Yeah.
Well, the only downside is the only thing you're paying attention to are more walls.
Yeah.
Just wall after wall after wall.
Yeah. And the other really weird thing we saw was that you can see the projections from the Jurassic Park area onto the castle, because you can see the castle, unfortunately, from there. And it looks really bad. Like they should like put scrim up or something, because like all you see is these like really stretched out projections on the side as you're walking by. And I just thought, wow, that's really bad.
It is what it is. Actually, one thing I should have asked. So more going back into this year, Seth, Hagrid has been plagued with problems that it started. Are we still looking? Is it getting near sort of running better now, or like people who are going to be coming this year, are we going to be up to full capacity anytime soon?
I gotta say, as of this weekend, it was really running well. I rode twice in under an hour on
That's good.
Friday night, so still peak period. Posted weight when it was 120 minutes. I got through single rider in 20-something minutes.
Wow.
And then by the time I got out, the posted weight had dropped to 90 minutes and was actually well under an hour. They've really, I think the whatever fundamental problems they had with sensors or whatever, I think they've worked out most of the bugs. I think when it goes down now, it's mostly user error in terms of guests going to get on the walkway. Either you still get people who can't handle a moving walkway and either can't walk right or trip or whatever. That happens more often than you'd expect. Yeah. And people, get onto the bike and put the seatbelt down and they're just not comfortable. Some people freak out. I've actually seen it happen a couple times personally, where someone was on ahead of me and they were just like, nope, I'm getting off.
Really?
I think that's a long time to wait to decide that.
Yeah.
But the problem is that if they can't get them off and clear off that belt, then the belt stops.
Right.
And when you have a system where you've got 7, 8, 9 trains all running at the same time, if one thing 10 seconds, you fall behind by 10 seconds, and it starts a domino effect behind you. They've gotten much better at getting. It used to be if it went down, it took an hour to get back up. Now they can sometimes get it back up in 15 minutes.
That's not bad. Because they don't have test. They have test seats out the front for it. They don't, do they?
And it's really they do. Do they? But the problem is that yes, there is definitely test seats out front. The problem is that the queue line and the split where you go to the lockers and then merge back together is all right in front of those seats.
Right.
It's hard to get to them. It's hard to even see that they're there.
Yeah.
I think they should be moved out closer to like where the Hogwarts Express train photo op is to make them more obvious.
It shows you how popular that ride is when you think, like, we've joked about it on the show for so long, that the queue for Dragon Challenge, and maybe not so much Dragon Challenge, but like Dueling Dragons was like the longest queue in the history of queues.
It was like a mile long.
It really was. And
for a 5-minute wait.
Do you think they should have done the virtual queue route like Disney did? Do you think it makes perception better?
I think it maybe could have helped redistribute the crowds. I don't think it would have helped long term. I don't know. I mean, I think there is a certain benefit with saying, like, if you want to wait, you've got to stand in this line, and that encourages people to go away and do something else. In terms of crowd management, there's a definite importance to what we call the balking factor of like reaching a number where people just say no and they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I think that Disney, I know at least those first few days, they gave out a lot of boarding passes, and then they gave away a lot of free one-day tickets because they couldn't accommodate the boarding passes. Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, the solution is to have a ride that has high enough capacity to handle the people that you're bringing into your park. I think now that they've gotten over the hump, I think they've pretty much given up on the idea of boarding passes and virtual return times for Hagrid. They weren't even using them at Fast and Furious when I was there a few days ago, and it was still peak season. They had them for Fallon, but they're basically instant return. So I don't know. What I will say is that watching them now that they dispatching trains less than 30 seconds apart. I don't know what the theoretical minimum spacing is, but they're getting it down to like 25, 26 seconds or so, which means that there's times at night it was really cool being able to see 3 separate trains all out at the same time.
Oh, that freaks me out a little bit.
It was pretty great. And they weren't throwing on the block brakes in order to keep them separated. Yeah. We really hit the pacing of it was just right. A few minor effects have started to disappear. Like the blast tail Scroot doesn't actually blast its tail. And one of the fluffy heads I haven't seen move in a while.
Oh, it's dead.
It's dead. They killed it. So I hope someone in J.K. Rowling's camp forces them to keep that stuff maintained. Yeah, especially this early. I love Rise of the Resistance. I'm waking up at 5 something in the morning tomorrow just to go and ride Rise of the Resistance with some friends tomorrow.
Jealous.
But just as a pure physical experience, Hagrid's is still my favorite new attraction from last year by far.
Nice.
Darren, you worry about them being spaced that far apart. You need to come over here and ride the Smiler, and then you'll never worry about it.
See, that's exactly what I'm thinking of. And that is a dark joke.
And that's what I'm saying. When you've ridden the Smiler, nothing else scares you.
That was human error.
And read about it later.
Do you not know, Chris?
No? And it was,
I'll Google
There's scary videos online. We don't want to talk about it.
It's a brilliant ride.
It is, but it's
probably the safest ride there is now.
I typed
as
in
long
this
as the people,
and the next autofill was crash. So I'm gonna,
yeah,
Yeah.
as
Anyway,
long as the people operating it are doing what
Yes.
they're supposed to, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
not
the
overriding
safest ride
system.
in the same sense the Titanic is probably the safest boat to go sail on.
yes.
Yes, exactly.
Is Hagrid still closing early, Seth, or are they actually running it to park close now?
I don't think they run it all the way to park close. I think if they've got a 90-minute park posted wait, they're shutting it off about an hour before or so.
Yeah.
But I mean, I left around 9 o'clock on a 10 p.m. close day, and it was still open when I left. So I think like on Friday night, it was going to at least 8:30 or almost 9.
Yeah.
The way it's looking is just about the worst way to ride Hagrid's right now is to rope drop it, because everyone else thinks they're going to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you genuinely want to invest the time to get there an hour and a half before opening, and it happens to open right on time, then you're great. But I think a much better way of doing it is there's a lull between noon and 1 that seems pretty consistent.
Lunchtime.
Okay.
Yeah, it drops down then, and then after 4 o'clock, a lot of people still think it's closing by 3:30, and it's been staying open until more like 7, 8 o'clock at least.
Okay.
You wait until, honestly, get in line right at sunset, because it's so much better after dark.
Yep.
First
And,
experience on it, yeah.
And if the other thing is, if it's posted 2 hours, it's probably 90 minutes. If
Yeah.
it's posted 90 minutes, it's probably an hour. They pad it out in case it goes down. But
enough.
it really has been running better and better. There's no guarantees. There's stuff
course.
still happens, especially if there's rain.
Yeah.
Rain still kills it. But if the weather's good, it's definitely worth jumping in line for.
Saturday, it was open. The queue was open till at least 9:30 on a 10 o'clock close.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
and with a 100-minute wait posted, but yeah, it did not look like 100 minutes.
and my time
Yes,
riding on that thing is
especially-
just awesome.
Yeah.
late in the evening after sunset, they definitely inflate those times.
Oh, of course they do.
Well, the staff want to get home.
We did it on Hollywood Studios. We went to do Toy Story Mania, and I think it was posted like 120-minute wait. And I went, there's not a hope in hell that this is and we queued, it was like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Disney doesn't. It seems like they don't care so much. They're like, no, you guys will stay till the last of the people are done with it. So it feels like the queues stay open like all the way to the end there, as opposed to Universal, where everything closes an hour before.
Yeah. So yeah, I suppose moving on, the last thing we got to talk about, really, that they've really sort of that people know is coming up is Epic Universe,
Yeah.
and
Oh boy.
so excited! Like a new theme park. It'll be the first time I've had a new theme park in Orlando since Islands of Adventure? Is that right?
Volcano Bay?
I
Is it
want to
theme
not.
park?
It's not. It's not. But yeah, is that right? Since 1999.
The first Central Florida theme park built from scratch. I mean, Legoland,
Yes. Yeah. And,
was built on the bones of Cypress Gardens. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
full gate built from scratch. Yep.
And
Wow.
it's interesting because I know I'm going to name drop now. I'm going to humble brag.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, everyone. We bumped into Mike Aiello outside Big Fire when we were over in
Ooh.
October. He didn't give us any things, but he did say if the things that they're hoping to implement into Epic Universe happen, it's going to be like nothing else we've seen
Yeah.
before as far as theme parks go.
Well, I hope so. Anyways.
Yeah.
It's like,
It'd be
you like
pretty
Islands of
bad.
Adventure? This is kind of less than that.
Yeah. If they're like,
my
you know-
feeling is, if you want to see what Epic Universe is about, look really carefully at what we see in Super Nintendo World when it
Yes.
opens in Japan this year. Because we all know about the rides. We've all seen Alicia's concepts video for Mario Kart and such.
I
But
haven't.
it's the
I'm staying spoiler
you haven't.
free.
Okay, don't spoil yourself. But it's the stuff that is not inside the rides themselves, but the interactive nature, the gamification of the entire land. We've seen a little bit of that in Harry Potter with the wands and in Star Wars with the data pads. And I think that Nintendo's kind of the test bed to see how far they can push that. And if that's successful, then you see that kind of interactivity spread out across all of Epic Universe.
Yeah. My only concern is both Nintendo and Universal have been horrible as far as mobile things go, mobile games and like mobile platforms for their devices.
I think the
just hope they do
Nintendo
something.
Switch would disagree with you, considering it's like the biggest selling mobile game
No, I
device.
mean,
Yeah, I think Darren's talking about cell phone stuff.
No, the
aren't you?
Switch, yes.
Yeah.
I meant cell phone. Sorry, I was speaking more to like mobile phone devices. And Nintendo has a really bad track record as far as their mobile phone products go. I'm just speaking as a consumer on that side. Just really disappointed from everything that they've put out for mobile so far. And then anytime Universal's tried to do a game or anything like that on mobile, I'm just like, God, do you have anybody that's ever done this before? Like, I just hope that they take that step to like really make it awesome.
Hope that they would partner with someone like Niantic, who does Pokemon Go.
Mhm.
Yes.
They'd find a third-party developer who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential for augmented reality,
Definitely.
for location-based gaming, for persistent things where you can play at home and then have your achievements affect your experience in the park, and then vice versa.
So awesome, yeah. A lot of potential there.
Oh yeah, it's going to be so exciting. Like we've covered the parks for nearly 9 years now, and to actually start covering an actual theme park from the ground up is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it was the first theme park with in-app purchases, where like you buy your ticket and that gets you on the ride, but if you want like the special ending, or you want to power up your guns on the interactive shooter ride or whatever, you have to have an app and unlock something through it.
Please don't introduce microtransactions into it.
Microtransactions, yes. Loot boxes in a theme park.
I'm hoping with Nintendo involved, it's a little more wholesome.
It's not
like
EA.
Earn those points instead.
Yeah.
Like hanging out at the park or something like that. But yeah. Oh.
Would you like AC when you eat your food inside?
There is one thing before we wrap up, actually. A certain website, I'm not going to name them here, put out a rumour the other day that Universal are quietly working on Lord of the Rings, and this rumour's been around for donkey's years.
They've been quietly working on it since I worked at Universal at this rate.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, really? I don't think Universal would go down that route, even if it was open for it, because I think we've said it all on the show before. It's just too close to Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had a conversation with folks over at Theme Park Stop as well about that. And they like, some people just couldn't see it, and it's so bizarre to me. And I had to like list out the similarities and like wizards, dragons, magic. And he's like, not really magic. I'm like, not really magic in Lord of the Rings, or what? Okay.
Gandalf the wizard.
Like the Deathly Hallows, the ring. Like, come on, there's so many.
Gandalf only did birthday party. just, taking the cup and the ball and thing. That's all.
Yeah. It's just
for me, the problem with Lord of the Rings is, they missed their peak, which was the Peter Jackson movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, while the estate made peace with Amazon to have this new Amazon TV show,
yes,
it's not at all related to the copyrights or trademarks for the character designs or the places from the movies. It's not going to reflect the Warner Brothers aesthetic. And I think that most people, if you told people, oh, we're going to Lord of the Rings land, but nothing looked like it did in the movies they remember, and you try to convince them, oh, no, this is based on the Amazon Prime TV show.
Oh, what a disaster.
That's going to be a hard sell. That's going to be a hard, unless they can work out something that gives them the rights to the versions of the characters that most people around the world are familiar with. It's like, it would be like having a Star Wars land, but Chewbacca is, orange or purple instead of brown.
I was going to say, it's like opening a Star Wars land, but putting it on something like Batu or something. I don't know.
I knew someone was going to go there.
Not quite that crazy. No one would do that.
Oh, man.
I think it would be a bad move on their part. But
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I like the movies, right?
Yeah.
But does Lord of the Rings have that wide of an appeal that it would, bring in that many people into the park the same way like Harry Potter did or like Star Wars does?
No, and I think like Seth would, if it had been 10 or 15 years ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, it brought a lot of people to New Zealand. I mean, New Zealand tourism for a decade was pretty much based on Lord of the Rings tourism.
Yeah,
but
true.
yeah, I think it would have been a great thing to jump on a decade ago, but the family wasn't having it. So
Yeah. I would like it in lieu of Harry Potter personally, but that's me, and I know that that's not marketable. I mean, not nearly as marketable as Harry Potter is.
Hey, we're halfway through the Harry Potter contract. Another 10 years, they decide they don't want to renew, they could just pull it all out and slap Gandalf's face on the side of it. And there you go.
Right. I think...
Then they file for bankruptcy.
No. You're going down a route now I don't want to talk about, by the way. I've just found something out about Darren I didn't realize.
Before anyone quote tweets me, I am being sarcastic.
Confirmed.
Darren, you've just disgusted me, by the way.
Why?
Do you think Lord of the Rings is better than Harry Potter?
Oh, yes.
Oh, God. And on that note, I think that's going to go. I don't think there's anything else.
Oh, the dogs of hell agree.
Seth, thanks for joining us. It's always awesome to have you on the show.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And can I just remind all our listeners that the most important thing in 2020 is the unofficial guide to Universal Orlando 2020.
Yes.
Available in fine bookstores wherever they still exist. And of course, over the internet. Check it out at theunofficialguides.com.
We need to take a black marker now and cross one of the bits out. I feel like we should have a minute's silence at this point for the no longer with us e-ticket report.
Oh, you know what? I was always tempting fate. Every year I would keep it in the book, even though they'd only put out 1 or 2 podcasts in the last 12 months. I'd say maybe this will be the year they'll finally get their act together. But I mean, this is Derek Bergen we're talking about, so its demise was pretty much inevitable. And I appreciate he waited till right after the new edition was in stores
Of course.
to fold. He couldn't have given me a heads up a little bit earlier. No.
Oh my God, I didn't even know.
Oh, did you not?
You guys are telling me right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Darren's devastated
Pour one
now.
out for the e-ticket.
Yeah.
Oh,
they announced it on New Year's Day.
That was the only other theme park podcast I listened to. How am I going to know what's happening anywhere now?
Listen to Darren, he genuinely sounds upset.
I am. Honestly, it was one of my favorite shows.
It was good. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, well.
We love you guys.
Yeah.
Now Derek's free, we'll have to get him on here a bit more. We haven't had him on. I can't remember the last time we had Derek on, actually. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, you know.
He's
Or
raised
get him on his own
you
show.
might not be able to afford him anymore.
Anyway, right. That is going to wrap up episode 385 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. And of course, we will wrap up like we always do with a Universal Is. And this one comes from Jonathan Jackson. But of course, if you want to be involved and get yours read out on the show, all you have to do is send us what you think Universal is in 3 words or less to podcast@uuopodcast.com. And Jonathan says, Universal is, I like this one, awaiting my return. See you next week, guys.
Cut. Print. That's a wrap for another episode of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Never miss a show by subscribing on Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review while you're there. Not an Apple user? You can listen on Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, or your podcatcher of choice. Email us any questions or comments to podcast@uuopodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest. Just search UUO Podcast. Keep up with the latest news, rumors, and updates on our blog at uuopodcast.com. Thanks for listening. See you next week.